Steve, great to see you. How are you keeping?
Very well. Nice and sunny days. Miles from anywhere. No COVID issues. Lovely.
Yeah. Well, I wish it was the same here. Obviously, it's not. We're fast approaching lockdown again at the moment. Um, is it fairly easy where you are right now?
Because we're in the middle of the desert, obviously, we're fairly isolated anyway. So we're pretty much locked down automatically, and we operate around here as a bubble. Our staff stay here, the guests stay here, nobody leaves. If we do have to go into town, everyone's very careful and protected, and they come back as quickly as possible.
Great. I mean, where exactly, can you tell for those that don't know, I mean, what is Roots and where exactly are you?
We're a dive resort. We're based in the south of Egypt. South in terms of diving, there is another 200 or 300 miles before we get to the border. Nearby a town called El Quseir, but we are actually in the desert on the edge by the beach.
So how far are you from main airport now?
Hurghada Airport is an hour and a half drive.
Yeah.
Master Island is the same, but Master Island doesn't have any flights this current situation.
I mean, I know at the time of recording this, you're fully open now. Are you hoping or are you expecting that to last now for a couple of months, or do you think you might get closed down again simply because of people getting to you?
Fully open. Well, not actually fully open. The COVID regulations stipulate we can only work at 50%, and we only opened now for 10-week season. We have no intention of staying open beyond the 10 weeks. So we close on the 15th of December, and then we'll be closed for the winter, opening again probably the 15th of February.
Can you tell us what Roots is? Would you say you're a dive camp, a resort? I mean, how would you describe Roots?
When you come to Roots, it's totally relaxed. The environment is do what you like, when you like. There's no regimented dive times as such. You just get up, go diving, come back, have a bit of relax, maybe have your lunch on the beach, dive again in the afternoon. Completely free to do what you like. Whereas the hotels, it tends to be lunches at X, Y, or Z, and if you miss X, Y, or Z, you've missed lunch. Here we run it around the divers. So if the divers come back at 3 o'clock and say we want lunch, lunch is at 3 o'clock. So it's completely directed towards the divers, and it works very well. In the evenings, we all sit together and chat about the day. So again, if you come as an individual, normally you'd finish your diving, go back to your hotel, sit on your own, have dinner by yourself, go back to bed, then get up in the morning and go diving. Here, you're with the same guys you've been diving with all day long. You spend the evening socialising with them, so it's very good for single people as well.
Yes, nice. I remember the occasions I have been with you. It's been just like that, really pleasant, so relaxed, lovely. As far as diving is concerned, your main thing would be shore diving because you have an encampment on the beach. But do you do boat diving as well?
Currently, the situation is to go boat diving, we'd need to go into town, and we won't go into town because that increases the risk. Although the risk is very minimal in town, there's no point in taking any risks whatsoever. So it's either house reef diving or we go out by bus to the shore dive sites, which are completely isolated. There's no one there. So you get those to yourself anyway.
Must be quite a treat having quiet dive sites. Have you noticed any difference in the marine life since the reefs have been quiet?
Well, our dive sites are always quiet because we are quite isolated in the first place. Yeah. And if we ever go to a dive site, generally, if there's somebody else there, we'll dive a different site. So we're used to that for sure. For the marine life, again, nothing much changes because there is not a lot of diving. There's no fishing as such. There's nothing going on. There's no tourism. So the fish life has just carried on as normal. I wouldn't say it was any better or any worse over the last year. Today we had 3 eagle rays from past and have a little play. So all the usual suspects are here.
Fantastic. What kind of, do you only take qualified divers or do you do dive training?
We do dive training. Vast majority of our clients are actually qualified divers, come to just increase their experience. You get the chance here that you're diving as your buddy pair, you're not being directed on what you have to do. So photographers, for example, can just go out and take as many pictures as they like, stop as long as they want. There's no one rushing them along, telling them to join the group. You're out there as a buddy pair enjoying yourself, and which for novice divers, once you get to 25 dives, we allow you to go with a buddy pair. It's great for your confidence, and you can see the improvement in novice divers by the end of the week. It's massive.
So what agency do you qualify people with?
That's a good question. We have 3 agencies. We're our BZAC Centre, we're our PADI Centre, which is our main business, but because of our tie to depth therapy, we're also a RAID centre, so we can offer courses in all 3 agencies. It makes no difference to us which one we offer. It's the same instructors teaching very much the same courses, just with different names.
You mentioned depth therapy and RAID. You just had depth therapy out with you, I believe. How did that go? How was the week? Was it a week or 2 weeks?
Just the week.
Wow.
It was excellent. Everybody was already experienced or a qualified diver. 3 of the guys are doing dive master training, and they did really well. It's an ideal location for them to cut their teeth. One guy was doing master scuba diver. Corey was doing his open water. He was actually coming to do the advanced, but as he didn't train with depth therapy, we didn't know what standard he was at. And having looked at him, talked to him, he decided that he wanted to do the open water again from basics, and he left a super diver ready to move on. We also did a couple of side mount courses, some oxygen provider courses, so we did quite a few courses with them.
Is there anything else there? So if families come or people don't dive, is there anything for them to do during the daytimes?
Well, we've been running routes now for getting on for 11 years, and it always concerned us when we first moved over that there was nothing to do for families, and would families enjoy it? We've had several families come and repeat, many of them, because the kids find themselves something to do. We're in nature, so they get out and they get playing within nature like they do in the old days. If you go into town when there's no COVID around, you'll see all the local kids. They don't play with Xbox. They make use of what's there, the natural resources. They'll go swimming in the sea, jumping off towers into the sea, doing things that are fun, which you don't tend to do back in Europe.
Talking about kids, what's the youngest that you'll take there to either dive or learn to dive?
They can start playing in the pool at 8 years old. It's 10 years old to get into the sea. We don't get too many that young, but we have a few. They're usually 11, 12, 13, coming with their family.
Get many families, or is it mainly groups?
It's mainly individuals or pairs or couples, small groups. Then we get certain times a year we'll pick up some families. The big groups are pretty much a thing of the past. Difficulties in travel, difficulties with all kinds of situations where you're trying to organise groups in the UK, nobody can get the time off, becomes a nightmare. And generally speaking, through the travel industry, I think you find groups are definitely diminishing.
Yeah. With depth therapy, you are obviously able to cater for physically impaired people. You get a disabled, do you get groups of disabled people coming to you of not war disabilities?
We have clients that are disabled. We also have other military groups. We have a Danish group that comes over, similar to depth therapy. So there's a Dutch group that's looking to get started in that area. The thing with the disability side of routes is, yes, we've got rooms for disabled people, we've got ramps in certain places, but we are still in the middle of the desert. If people come expecting to have European standard facilities, they're in for a surprise. They need to come across with an open mind and be willing to push themselves a little bit, because pushing a wheelchair across the sand by yourself is quite tough work.
Yes,
you've been over, you've seen the guys over here, they manage very well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not sure when this will go out. Hopefully, as soon as possible. I know we have a bit of a backlog of items because our website has been revamped and stuff. But what are the plans over the next couple of months? Do you have groups in? Um, are you restricted a great deal by COVID right now?
We're reduced to 10 rooms, so yes, we're quite well restricted. So that's maximum 20 people. In November, generally, we're pretty much at 10 rooms through the whole of November. So we have space in December, but for November, we're fairly much full. Glad to say. But feel free to try. If you want to come and find a space, we might be able to sneak you in somewhere.
Excellent, fantastic. It's been great to see you again, and I'm very jealous of the sun there. It's pretty cold and dire here right now. I hope it just gets better and better, but in the end, it's all down to COVID, I guess. And I look forward to some point coming out and seeing you again.
Well, the thing with the COVID is people in the UK think that things are hard. Over here, there is no government support for the families. So when they don't work and there's no one giving them any money, they don't eat. So things are very, very tough for the Egyptian people. Obviously, we look after our staff the best we can, but the tourism industry is decimated, absolutely decimated, and there's an awful lot of people that have nothing and have no means of getting any money or food. The government support some of the bigger operations, the bigger hotels, but for some on our size, I think you need a minimum of like 50 employees before they start looking at helping you out. So it's pretty tough over here, but they're a very resilient bunch. They club together as families and they're all getting by, but we can't wait to see the end of COVID, let me tell you. Get everybody back to work and families functioning again.
Yeah, absolutely. I can only say, yeah, I hope so too. It's causing a lot of problems here. And as I said earlier, we're fast approaching another lockdown. So fingers crossed we get a vaccination and something happens fairly soon.
Well, UK is probably, well, the UK and Switzerland are the only two countries I think that are still flying out here at the moment. So go on, you Brits. Yes, good old EasyJet.
Right.
I think flights start coming back in December for Germany and Italy as well, but we'll see what happens with those. But for the moment, it's Switzerland and the UK that provide all the external business.
UK are usually the last to cut flights. I remember many years ago when there's the political troubles, UK were probably one of the last ones still flying, weren't they?
They don't think they stopped.
Right.
They just carried on.
British spirit, I love it. All right, Steve, look, take care. Please say hello to everyone for me, and hopefully we'll catch up soon.
Yep, nice to see you.
Cheers for now. Bye.